Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ben, and in this episode of the Smoking Hot Confessions BBQ podcast, our guest is one of the most famous BBQ pitmasters in the whole world. Hey family, hope you're doing well wherever you are and you got that thin blue smoke rolling. This is episode 118 of the Smoking Hot Confessions BBQ podcast, and we have got something super special for you today. I'm going to tell you more about that in just a minute, but we've got a couple of announcements to run through before we do get stuck into this episode. So I just want to let you know that we've got a new free mini ebook available on the Smoking Hot Confessions website. It's the Beginner's Guide to Real Barbecue. So if you're listening to this and you're just getting into the world of barbecue and low and slow smoking and all the delicious things that we do, make sure you head on over to smokinghotconfessions.com, have a bit of a look around the website. At some stage, a pop-up will come up offering you the free ebook to download. Pop your details in there and we'll shoot it straight out into your inbox and we'll get you started on the path to low and slow glory. So good, so delicious. If you are watching this video on Facebook, make sure you give it a like and a share for us. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a subscribe, hit the notification bell, and a thumbs up. Don't forget the thumbs up. If you're watching on IGTV, give us one of those cute little hearts and a follow. And if you're listening on a podcast app, do give us a rating and a review. It does help the robot overlords know that you like it, and so they should show it to other people who will also like it as well. Now, coming up in today's episode, we are chatting to a man who, and I've had to write a detailed list down here because it's a big list, has delivered more than 200 barbecue classes around the world, has been featured on 6 different barbecue TV programs, has won over 100 first places and 27 grand championships. And if you haven't guessed yet, I'm talking to the one and only Harry Sue.
This is the internationally awarded Smoking Hot Confessions BBQ podcast with your host, Ben Arnott. How long's it been since your last confession?
Hey, Harry, it looks beautiful over there in LA right now. Thank you for joining me in the confessional.
All right, we are here to confess and to cook, CNC as we call it here. So we got a little fire going here.
Ooh, lovely.
Like a hot burning grill. We got something called Cockles. I don't know if you had this in Australia, Cockles?
Yeah, I have seen them, but I don't know that I've actually cooked them myself.
Okay. We have some cuttlefish.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Some, we call this shrimp. I don't know what you call it in Australia.
Prawns.
We're going to do a little bit of a Asian influence cook. So Sunday is my favorite day because I get to play with all the recipes that I'm going to feature for my Patreons as well as for my YouTube channel. So you guys are going to be joining me on a R&D journey. It may fail. It may work. You guys will be here to help me figure out if these crazy sauces I've made and all these different rubs and everything will work with all these herbs on the fire. So it's going to be basically, throw down with Ben and Harry cooking, seafood, kind of the Los Angeles style.
Beautiful, mate. Sounds absolutely fantastic. And I do thank you for inviting us into this recipe investigation, and of course, which is going to be your dinner. So you've basically invited us to dinner with Harry. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so the first thing that I always like to ask my guests is, what was the last thing that you barbecued?
Let's see. I cooked a durian. You want to see a durian?
Yeah, sure. Let's see that.
You guys know what a durian is?
No.
Okay. So I did this for my episode. I shot a YouTube episode called Barbecue Durian. This is going to be part 2 because all my viewers complained that I did not try this particular durian. It's called the Musang King. Kind of sounds like a little Godzilla movie. But I did the first one with the Thai. So the Thais were impressed, but the rest of Southeast Asia became haters. They said, Harry, how can you not cook a Musang King durian from Malaysia? Because I gave the Thai folks a nod using the montong. For those of you who never heard of a montong, it's a golden pillow durian. So I know that some of your viewers are turning up their noses now because this is not something that everybody likes, but this is something I enjoy. I love it. I've been eating it since I was a little kid.
And so that's obviously some kind of fruit. It looks like a large spiky fruit about the size of a pineapple.
Yes, it's has a very unusual flavor. It's kind of like a mashed almonds with fermented cheese. That's a really acquired taste. So Even Andrew Zimmer on the Food Network, he is something that will throw him off.
Right. Yeah, that is quite exotic. And so how do you go about barbecuing one of those? I'm assuming it's a marinade and a grill?
No, you put the whole fruit on the grill and you cook it for about 3 hours, and then the base will split like a starfish. And that allows you to pry it open, and the meat in there will be nice and warm with a kiss of smoke flavor. So that's a really unusual way to enjoy barbecue durian. It's typically eaten fresh or frozen or, without cooking it. But I decided to up the notch since I'm a pitmaster. Everything I cook on my channel goes on the grill, on the smoker, on the pit.
Beautiful, yeah. And now, speaking of grills and barbecues, you've already shown us that you've got a little Weber there cooking up for dinner tonight. What is that your grill of choice when you're cooking at home?
For home cooking and seafood, I like to use a Weber Kettle because, as you guys probably heard me say many times, when you cook fish and seafood, that kind of odor of the ocean is going to permeate your pit. So ordinarily, I would not use a pit that I reserve for cooking brisket and ribs and pork, right, to cook any kind of seafood. So I really like to cook my seafood on my kettle because I can clean the kettle up thoroughly. So if I cook salmon and it's really fishy, you really don't want to grill steaks after you cook salmon on your kettle. So this way I can clean it out, and it's a surefire way to make sure that you don't cross-contaminate flavors and odors.
Wow, that's interesting. I haven't actually thought of that myself. I just throw whatever in the kettle, and then whatever comes out, comes out. That's really interesting. I hadn't heard someone say that before.
You know how the kerosene twang, that you get from using lighter fluid? You can get the same thing from seafood because the oils from the fish end up soaking into the crust on the inside of your dome. And some of that flavor is going to impart itself on the next item you cook. Yeah, right. Of course. Yeah. No, now that you've said it, it makes perfect sense. It's just not something that I'd that I'd thought of before. So you mentioned that you grew up eating durian as a boy. How did you get into barbecue? Has it always been part of your life? No, I am a totally accidental pitmaster. I have actually no business sitting here talking to you about cooking barbecue. I grew up in Malaysia and from the island of Penang. And at an early age, I was hired by Asian Airlines in Singapore to fly airplanes, and I kind of lost my job because of the oil crisis. This is like 40 years ago. For those of you who are as old as I am, there was once upon a time in the world where there was an oil crisis, and you could buy petrol. You call it petrol. You can buy petrol only on odd and even days. So I'm a refugee from that long gone dinosaur era. And I ended up going to America about 40 years ago to pursue my education. And I actually ended up cooking barbecue in Texas. That's where I first ended up in America. I went to Texas Tech, which is a big university in the state of Texas. And what do you do when you go to Texas? The first thing they feed you is brisket. And I took one bite of that American barbecue. I fell in love. I spent the next 20 or 30 years cooking barbecue, and always trying to emulate that wonderful, moist, tender beef heaven like brisket and sausage and ribs that I learned how to eat in Texas. But it was something that I pursued for many, many years. And then in the 2008, if you recall, there was a movie called The Bucket List.
Yes.
It was a docudrama. Have you heard of it? So it was Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson. And one of my coworkers at work said, hey, we're a bunch of IT nerds. We should do something with our life before we kick the bucket. And she made us all write down a list of things we would do to make it interesting. We started to write stretch goals for each other. So Ben, let's say I know you always secretly wanted to water ski, but you never water skied. I'll write a stretch goal for, hey, Ben, you got to go take a water skiing lesson.
Oh,
so
wow.
For me, they wrote down a barbecue contest because they knew I loved to cook. I had no idea my food was any good because when you serve it to family, when the food's free, the drinks are free, what does everybody say?
They all say it's lovely.
The best food on earth.
Yeah.
The best food on earth, yes. So because of the dare, I decided to fulfill what they wrote down for me, which is to cook one contest. And I found a contest in California, and I had no idea what I was doing. I signed up for the contest, and I had to fill in the registration form to fill in my team name and pay a fee. So I decided I'll write down the bucket list as my team name. And lo and behold, my coworkers heard that I was doing that. They say, hey, let's pick a fun name for your team. And I said, fine, pick any name you want. I'll never use it again. I'll just use it one time and it's going to be a throwaway name. So in America, there's a kind of a saying in the South that if you eat something you really, really like, it is so good that you want to slap somebody. So that's kind of how I started in barbecue, because in America, I thought that was a really stupid name. So I said, fine, guys, I'm never going to use it again. So I'll just humor my coworkers and call my team name Slap Yo Daddy. And that was 12 years ago. So it's been an amazing journey. I've had a chance to travel all around the world. I've had a chance to travel to Sydney to teach, to Perth to teach. So I got to be headed to see you, Ben, in Brisbane next.
Yeah, sounds good. Is there already a plan there, or is that one of those aspirational goals you were just talking about?
I have seeded Australia with many pitmasters. So you guys may not be aware, but a lot of your leading pitmasters, right? Like Paul King, like Lance Rosen, all these are all my alumni. So I've actually trained quite a few grand champions in the great continent of Australia.
Yeah, I think I was talking to a fellow that you're quite familiar with now, Jason Linto, just about a month or so ago, and he said that what got him into barbecue was he actually travelled to Sydney, and he was at your class in Sydney, and that's what got him hooked on barbecue, and now he's lining up all those competitions over in Perth.
Yeah, he's been one man, and his partner Ian McGibbon, they have been like a tour de force in barbecue in Australia. So I know he's been organizing a lot of events. I was there before the COVID pandemic. We did the big contest. We did a kids queue. I put on the little class over there. So I really want to go back to Australia and hang out with all my barbecue brothers and sisters. Yeah,
we're certainly looking forward to having you back over here as well, mate. No doubt about that at all. Now, in the introduction, I mentioned that you'd had a lot of TV opportunities. Give us a bit of a rundown on all of them, because there's quite a few.
Yeah, it all started in 2010. Out of the blue, I was at a contest, and my cell phone rang about 5 minutes before I was going to get disqualified for the rib entry. So for those of you who are not aware, in America, we do this crazy thing called barbecue competition. We plan the whole week, and on Friday and Thursday night, we drive, hundreds of miles away or kilometers away, and then there's a big contest. We set up on Friday. We cook our heart out, and on Saturday, we get judged by the judges. So we turn in meats around noon, 12:30, 1 o'clock, and 1:30. So it was like 12:25, my cell phone rang, and I thought, who would be calling me in the middle of a contest? Don't they know that I'm going to get disqualified if I don't get my rib entry ready? So I picked up the phone, and I say, who's this guy? So I say, hello, hello, hello. And the guy said, hi, you don't know who I am. My name is John Marcus. I'm a TV producer. I would like to talk to you about being on a TV show. So I said, yeah. And I hung up on him, right? Because I thought he was one of my other teams pranking me, trying to get me disqualified, right? So I forgot completely about the phone call. And then on like Sunday on the way drive home, it's a 6-hour drive home from that location in Northern California. I told my partner, I said, hey, I had a dream yesterday in the middle of the contest. Some guy calls me and says he's a TV producer. So I picked up the phone and I went through my call log and I said, oh, lo and behold, there was a guy who called me right at 12:25 in the middle of the contest on Saturday. So I picked up the phone and I spoke to the guy, and he introduced himself, and his name is John Marcus. He is the executive producer of a TV production company. You may have heard, do you have the Cosby Show in Australia?
We had the Cosby Show. It's not on syndication anymore. Yeah, because of the story of that. But anyway, he was a very famous TV producer. So he produced many shows, won many Emmys, including doing the Cosby Show. So apparently he was a who's who of TV producing. And I said, what do you want with me? He said, well, I would like to cast you on a TV show. I said, you got to be kidding me. And he said, no, you came highly referred and we want to put a TV show. So I had no idea what I was doing. So on Tuesday, a pile of paper came from Discovery Channel, and that was the contract. So I went back to my coworkers and told them, look what you guys got me into. You got me into this crazy barbecue business. I went and did my first contest. I won it, and I was hooked, and I started competing for fun. And I told them, look at what happened. Now this guy calls me and wants to put me on TV. I have no idea what to do. I've never been on TV before. So my coworkers say, Harry, follow your heart. Sometimes when there's a fork in the road, you really have to have the courage to take the right direction and go with not a thinking, just go with your heart. So I thought to myself, well, what is the worst that can happen? I can go on a TV show, make a fool of myself for the world to see, and that would be the end of it. Now, what I did not know is that they were going to put me on a show with 7 teams. Yeah.
3 are world champions. Okay.
Yeah.
So if I had known that up front, that it would be Tuffy Stone, Myron Mixon, right, and Johnny Trigg, I would have run the hell out of that show. I would never have. So I signed up for the show, had no idea. So I walked on set about 2 months later, and I met these guys. And the first thing they said, "Who's Harry? Who? Where is he from?" "Oh, he's from California." What do they know how to cook in California? They don't cook barbecue in California. They cook tofu and artichokes. Okay. So that was my introduction to the show. And long story short, for those of you who followed the season 1 of BBQ Pitmasters, when they had the season finale throwdown in Texas, guess what happened? The little team from California ended up beating all the world champions. So that was my entry into notoriety on the barbecue circuit. And since then, I've been on several shows like Food Network. I've been on Alton Brown show, a lot of local shows. So I have been kind of really an accidental pitmaster. I fell into barbecue completely by accident.
Yeah, wow, that's a hell of a story. That's really interesting to get that sort of that behind the scenes glimpse into American into barbecue pitmasters, because that's
it's a kind of a roundabout way, and then sometimes in life you never know what will happen, right? Until you go about life. And can you guys see what I'm doing here? Just cooking some shrimp. Yeah,
it looks like you've butterflied some shrimp and just popped it indirect between the charcoal baskets there.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a little experiment here. I'm gonna cook a few items here. I'm gonna try some sauces here. I made a little tom yum sauce here. For you guys not familiar what tom yum is, this is like a Thai style sauce.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna be doing three sauces here that I'm practicing. This may or may not make it on my channel, but I'm one of those people. I keep trying and until something sticks. So I'm a sort of a fearless experimenter because I have no formal training, right?
Yep.
I'm a total quack. I have really no cooking credential here, but I do have a fearless curiosity and, always wanting to know more about the world. So I always try to find different ways to amuse myself. So this is one of the ways I amuse myself on a Sunday.
Yeah, you certainly got some great habits and some good ways of spending your time. What's it? Is that just extra virgin olive oil that you're tossing on there?
I have a little bit of canola oil on it, and let's just get it going here. Close the lid, and I have a little bit of a Vietnamese style sauce. Let me put this thing on so I can do something here.
Yeah, sure.
You guys see?
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay, cool. So I made a little chimichurri. If you guys don't know what chimichurri is, kind of like a Argentinian style sauce that goes on steak. So what I've done is I amped it up with some Asian influences. So I have fish sauce in here. So I'm taking like an Asian chimichurri. So it's like a little fusion cuisine. I'm going to put some on the shrimp here with the garlic and spicy chili. And we're going to try another sauce on the shrimp. So these are the herbs that I like to use. Do you have this in Brisbane? Mint.
Oh, yeah.
This is a kind of a fragrant herb. I don't know if you see this. I don't know what it's called, but it's used for a dish called laksa. I don't know if do you have laksa in Australia?
Oh, yes. Yep.
Okay, so this is a laksa herb. I love it because it's just got a great flavor. And when you cook with laksa, right, it really, really brings out the flavor of your food. So, if you can throw it onto the fire, it also gives a little bit of a fragrance onto the meat here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Here, so show you guys some tips on how to cook kind of your dinner, Sunday dinner here in this case.
Yeah, beautiful. Well,
I give that about maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Sounds good to me. So we were just talking about BBQ Pitmasters and some of the other TV sort of stuff that you've done. What's been your favorite experience on television there?
I have had so many, and some of the favorite experiences I have is when, it's kind of a really small event. We did this event. You guys know that a lot of my barbecue work is for philanthropy. So I already have a great job. I build data centers for a living. So barbecue is kind of like a kind of hobby for me on weekends and nights. And a lot of the proceeds from barbecue go towards charities such as Operation Homefront, Save the Children, and other like cancer charities. So one of my best events was a very tiny event I did for at-risk youth, where I put on a class and I taught about 18 at-risk youth. These are youth between the ages of about 14 to about 20 years old. And they all are kids that just had a very rough life. And that little TV show was covered on local news. So despite all the national exposure I've had cooking barbecue, that is one of my most memorable events because you see the faces of these kids as they light up learning how to cook barbecue, which is like a grilling life skill program. And since then, what I did was I actually put that program online on my website and on my YouTube videos. So folks around America are downloading that program so they can start the same at-risk grilling life skills program in their own city. So that's kind of like my top of the top type of TV show.
Got a project you'd like to work on with the SHC team? Shoot Ben an email on ben@smokinghotconfessions.com and let's have a conversation.
We've already talked about Slap Yo Daddy, the competition team, and you've told us about the name, which is one of the things I was going to ask about. Have you ever had like a barbecue mishap at a competition? Like what's a bit of a funny story you've got about competition barbecue?
Oh wow, there are so many. A lot of them involve basically my failure and the failures of people around me. Let me tell you what will be a funny story. Okay, here's a funny one. So I'm at a barbecue contest. I'm helping out a team, and they are brand new. And I cook using a Weber Smokey Mountain. That's my default cooker. But this team beside me, they were brand new, so they knew who I was. So they asked me to help them. I said, "Fine, I'll teach you everything I know." They brought along a pellet cooker. For your viewers who may not be aware, a pellet cooker is a cooker that uses these little rabbit-sized wood pellets, and it runs on electricity. And you turn it on, and then the pellets will heat up, and that will be used to cook the food. So I told him, can you go and start the pellet cooker? And the pellet cooker has a hopper of wood pellets. It's got some electronics on it. And then you have to turn the unit on to start it up to feed the pellets into the unit when it will burn through a little glow plug, and then the whole pit will start up. So he saw me start my Weber Smokey Mountain. And for those of you who are out there, the Weber Smokey Mountain is a bullet-sized cooker. The way you start it, you light the coals, kind of very similar to the coals I have here, like this. You light the coals, right? Mm-hmm. And then you dump the hot coals into the middle of the Weber Smokey Mountain. So guess what he did?
Oh, God.
He took his my charcoal chimney, and I didn't realize what he was doing because I was busy trimming the brisket. He took my charcoal chimney, he started the coals, and he poured it into the pellet hopper.
Bye-bye pellet grill.
So needless to say, when we saw the fire, we thought, holy smokes, what happened here? So needless to say, we scooped, had a frantic scooping all the burnt pellets out of the pellet cooker. And I told him, no, you don't start a pellet cooker that way. So what I learned in my lesson is that when you help somebody, please find out, where they are either a total beginner or they are a professional pitmaster, because you had the unintended result of setting somebody's pit on fire.
Yeah, wow, that would have been just devastating. And so you're obviously able to save the pellet grill then?
Yeah, and the worst thing is that I got the brunt of it because everybody was laughing at me saying, look at that idiot Harry teaching a newbie team how to start their pellet cooker. So that moniker hung around my shoulders for a long time.
Yeah, I've been...
But luckily, nobody got hurt. The team went on to cook their food, and they did a fine job.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I've been a teacher for almost 20 years now, and it's always very important to be incredibly clear when you're giving instructions.
Yes.
Yeah, you got to tell them exactly what you want done and exactly how you want them to do it.
And then also always supervise. Don't take for granted, right? If you tell somebody to do something, and they know what to do. I learned that where I used to fly 747s, and one of the training sessions we had is that if you are flying an airplane, you are a captain, you really have to be very specific instructions. For example, if you have ever flown on an airplane, right, there's a little handle on the door that they tell you to pull, right, and turn in case the plane has a water landing or the plane has an emergency, and the doors will blow open, and then the rafts will blow out, and then you can slide down, right?
Yep.
So the handle says grab handle and turn. So what people did was if this was the handle, they went up to it, they grabbed the handle and they turned. Like that.
So they would turn their body instead of turning the handle.
you said grab the handle and turn, right?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, you cannot fault them for doing exactly what the instructions said. Grab the handle and turn.
Wow. Yeah. So did they have to change all the safety instructions on the planes?
Yeah,
then
that's why you have to test instructions. So when you put out instructions, you have to put the regular people and have them use it.
Yeah. And now I've seen them. They've all got big colored arrows pointing down and like showing exactly where you have to turn it, and so they don't turn it the wrong way, all that sort of stuff. That's interesting.
Yeah, in America, we have these the lawnmowers. Do you guys have lawnmowers in Australia? Do you have a sign that says "Do not stick your hand in the lawnmower blade"? Do you ever have that sign?
Yeah, there's all sorts of different things like that.
Okay. Yeah. See, I rest my case.
Yeah.
Right? So in Australia, you have the same people as in America. They have to put a sign: "Do not put your hand into the blade."
Yeah. The common sense seems to have gone out of style a long time ago. So you mentioned before that you like to cook on a Weber, and I noticed in your About section on your Slap Yo Daddy Facebook page that you talk about cooking in an 18-inch Weber. So do you cook all these competitions literally in just one little 18-inch Weber Smoky Mountain? So all
I'm well known for being cheap and lazy. I call it process efficient and cost efficient. So that's how I started. When I was in that dare at work for the bucket list, I ordered my 2 smokers off Amazon on Wednesday. I went to a contest on Friday. I packed my entire kitchen in my minivan, had no idea what I was doing, and I started cooking on the Weber Smokey Mountain. And since then, it's really done well for me. I probably won almost all my awards using it. I've only used only other award I won was using a 22. That's because in Hawaii, I didn't have a smoker. So one of the folks in Hawaii, they bought a Weber Smokey Mountain 22 to let me loan it and use it. And that was the only time I cooked on the 22. But the rest of my awards I won on the 18.
Wow. So in a sport where a lot of people seem to be going bigger and heavier and as fast as they can, you're traveling around with one 18-inch Weber in a minivan and just slaughtering everybody.
I mean, we've shown repeatedly that it's not about the pit; it's always about the pitmaster. So, this is kind of how it is. And if you know what you're doing, you can get great results. Just cooking with a shovel, some chicken wire, and a hole in the ground.
Yeah, which is where it all started from anyway in the first place.
That's how barbecue started. And I'm sure in Australia, you guys have your own barbecue traditions. I'm putting a dynamite sauce. Have you ever been to a Japanese restaurant? They serve you the dynamite roll?
Yes, I've been to a Japanese restaurant. No, I don't know what that is. Is that like Kewpie mayonnaise?
It's a Kewpie mayonnaise type of a sauce. So I'm just making a Kewpie mayonnaise. It's called dynamite sauce, and it's extremely common in Japanese restaurants.
Okay. And so that's going onto the skewered prawns that you were putting. Yeah. Was that the one that the chimichurri sauce went on before?
Yeah, we kind of base it with chimichurri to kind of get it to have a nice flavor with the garlic and then the spices, the fish sauce, and then these herbs that I put. And then this one is done with a Thai curry yogurt style tom yum paste, which I just made here. And then I'm going to do this one also, which is the cuttlefish. I'm going to brush it a little bit of oil. And I forgot to get this one in here. Let me make some room for this thing. I was going to cook some blood cockles also. So let's keep talking while I maneuver the pit here.
Yeah, sure. No worries. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned before about sending some products off from Slap Yo Daddy. So you've obviously expanded from being a competition team into there being a business element to what you do. So give us a bit of a rundown on the business side of Slap Yo Daddy.
Okay. So the whole idea about cooking barbecue was an accident. And what happened was after I was at a TV show, had a little bit of notoriety, somebody called me and said, hey, I noticed that I saw you on TV. I'm a big fan of yours. And do you sell any products? I said, no, I'm just a regular guy who has a regular job. And he says, I own a rub company. Would you like to partner with me to kind of put out some product? So I say, fine. My revenue from barbecue rub is 0. So, anything higher than 0 is probably not a bad idea.
Yeah.
So he put my product onto he made my product. And in those days, it was very unsophisticated, almost like kind of like a cottage industry. Like, so he put my product into a baggie, kind of like a marijuana bag. And then he said, okay, why don't we sell it? I said, fine. He printed the label on his dot matrix printer. And then we put it on the market in 2009 or something. And then I was just completely blown away. The first month he sold $1,000 worth of product.
Wow.
Just like that, with no advertising, and apparently people know me around the world, so they like to buy the product. So that was 12 years ago. So today, my product is pretty much sold everywhere. I'm trying to get into the big box stores. A number of restaurants also, they actually use my product. They don't tell people, but they use the product behind the scenes. We sell them in 35 gallon pails of product. So it's kind of taken off, and it's allowed me to do what my passion is to give back to the world. So Ben, in life, right? You make a living. You do that all your life. There's a certain point in your life where you ask yourself, how can you make a living, but also make a difference? And I'm at a stage in my life where I'm trying to do more, make a difference stuff, because I already, found a way to make a living. And I always tell people, especially your viewers who are watching this, is that it's important to kind of divide your life into three pieces. The first piece is when you go to school and university, and then between the ages of 20 to 40 years old, you want to learn. You want to learn from as many masters as you can. When you are in the second phase of life, when you're 40 years old to 60 years old, you want to become the best you can do. Become the best YouTuber, becoming the best mother, becoming the best father, becoming the best brother, becoming the best worker. When you hit my age at 60 plus, right, what you want to do is give it all away. So I'm at a point in my life where I'm kind of giving it all away. That's why when you come and watch my YouTube channel, you cannot believe that Harry shows you his first place competition recipes on, completely open and transparent. And people can't understand that. And I tell them that, hey, life is really about giving, not so much receiving. When you give a slice of the pie to somebody, you're not shrinking the pie for yourself, because when you give, the pie grows. And that's the message I want to get out to your viewers, that in life, learn how to give and how to make a difference in someone else's life.
Yeah, that's some beautiful words of wisdom there. That is that absolutely is the finer points of life. There is making sure that you give something back to the community, which kind of does link back to the charity work that you mentioned before. So you've got your rubs. You're wearing some Slap Yo Daddy merch right there. What other services do you offer? I know that you do barbecue classes.
Yeah, I've been teaching barbecue classes until the COVID hit us big time in America. I think that you probably, from your viewpoint, right, America is a burning, mess right now. And that's probably true. We've not been able to bring this pandemic under control. And there are probably many factors. If I go into the politics of this, we'll be here for another 4 hours.
Yeah.
So the idea is that you want to expand yourself. And I always believe that when you do something, life is brief. Live it with intensity. That is the saying I have. I'll say that again, so it's so important. Life is brief. Live your life with intensity. And what I mean by that is that put your heart and soul into whatever you're doing, especially if that makes a difference. So I'll give you an example here. I have a YouTube channel that seems to be growing, and I get about 2,000 comments a month. That's a lot of comments. And people cannot believe that I answer myself, because I'm a one-man company, one-person operation. I answer all the comments. Why do I do that? People say, how can you do that with 125, 130,000 subscribers? I do it because when I do something, I really want to reach out and help people, because sometimes a simple thing of me teaching you how to flip your grate, how to turn your brisket a certain way, will help you immensely to let you hit the pinnacles of barbecue perfection. And that's really what the message I want to get across to your viewers, is that life is really about sharing what you know. If you have a talent in life, it is not an accident. You are given that talent because there's something bigger that you must accomplish. And life is brief. Live it with intensity.
I love that, man. Absolutely love it. So good. So it was 200 plus classes and 3,000 or 30,000 students.
I lost track. I keep my classes really small. So you figure you do the math, about 15 times 250, thereabouts, right? So what I've done is when I teach classes, as you can probably tell from this video, it is a very personal experience. I teach you one-on-one.
Yeah.
There is no TV camera. There's 100 people, and then you watch what the person is cooking behind 2 TV screens. In my class, when I cook with you, we cook side by side. We cook 25 items, right?
Wow.
In 6 hours. You can ask Jason. Jason and Ian were completely blown away. We did like 30 items in a 6-hour class, cooked from scratch. I even had a chef from Nobu in Perth come to class, and he was blown away. We cooked pig's ears. We cooked pig's snouts also. Yep.
Wow, 30 items in 6 hours.
6 hours, yeah. I'm absolutely crazy because it is a barbecue insanity class.
Yeah. So, wow. Okay, so you just mentioned pig's ears and pig's noses. How do you do briskets? Do you do like a 6-hour brisket in a?
Yeah, well, the way we do it is I borrow a technique I've seen on TV. We cook 2 briskets. So I will start the brisket on Friday night around midnight. We put the brisket in. Class starts on Saturday around 8 a.m. And then we go through the normal prep of the brisket. We show them how to do a backyard trim. We show them how to do a competition trim. We show them how to do the injection, how to make the rub, apply the rub, trim the brisket. And then we put the brisket onto the pit, teach them a fire management, how to do the brisket. And then at that point in time, that brisket from Friday night is ready now on Saturday. So they go through the whole process of doing my 3-sided Huggy Baby wrap, or we do the schmears, we cook the brisket until the brisket's done, and then we have a big old 25-item lunch at around 1 o'clock.
God, that's awesome. And so what happens to that second brisket? Does that become a door prize or like a
that like second brisket actually is meant for my neighbors and my coworkers because when people come to my class, they park all over the street.
Oh, right.
So I have to be nice to my neighbors. So, I spread the barbecue love around. So we have extra sets of ribs, extra sets of pork butt, extra sets of brisket and chicken. So we just spread that love around the neighborhood.
So you actually teach classes in your home. Is that what you're saying? You actually bring people to the Harry Sue Ranch?
Harry Sue Ranch, we call it the Su Casa. Casa is Spanish for home. I've done classes all over America. I've done classes in people's, restaurants. I've done classes in people's barbecue stores all over America. I think when we did it in Perth, we also did it in, a kind of a parking lot that we built for that event. I did the same thing in Sydney, was in actually a barbecue store.
Right. And you don't feel at all sort of nervous about bringing fans into your home, like into your beautiful pool area that I can see behind you there? Like,
well, life is short, right? Live with intensity. And sometimes in life, you just have to give what you have. And then, when that little expiration tag on your toe comes around, you got to be ready to go. So while that date is coming around, you just have to give everything you have. I always tell people, right? Always ask yourself the question, in our hourglass of life, how much sand do you have on top left? And make sure that make the sand grains on the top half of the hourglass count. And if it's a matter of sharing your skills with everybody, do so. Like I started YouTube also by accident because one of my students came to my class, right? And he runs a very famous knife sharpening channel. His name is Ricky Tran, and he runs a channel called Perfection. So for those viewers of yours who are knife aficionados, you probably heard of, he has like the #1 knife sharpening channel on YouTube. So he was my student and he said, Harry, your knives are dull, and dangerous. Why don't I teach you how to sharpen knives? So I said, fine. So I went to his house, which is in Los Angeles, and he taught me how to sharpen knives. And he told me, I have a YouTube channel. Are you okay if I turn the camera on? I said, sure, go ahead and turn the camera. Who wants to watch 2 guys sharpening knives for 2 hours? Well, 60,000 people. And to me, that's like watching grass grow. But he told me, Harry, apparently you like to talk. So why don't you just record some of your cooking on your cell phone? I said, yeah, I can do that. So I went to Amazon, bought myself a little tripod for $20 and put my cell phone on my tripod and started, cooking, making really, really bad videos because I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know how to edit it. I didn't know how to put the sound, how to put the music. But I threw all these videos out on the internet. And lo and behold, like a year and a half, 2 years later, I have 130,000 people who follow me.
Wow, that's amazing. What do you sort of put that down to? Because you said yourself that the production quality isn't super great. There are certainly some people out there that have an entire production team behind them. Is it because you're so relatable? Is it because you invite people into your home like I'm talking to you now, sitting in front of your pool in your backyard there? Do you think it's that personal connection?
I honestly do not know. Like I said, right, when I was on a TV show, I'm not like Myron. Myron is one person on camera and another person off camera. Harry's the same person. So whether you meet me at a contest, you meet me in my class, you meet me at work, you meet me on the street, you meet me in the local store, I am the same person. And that's the only thing that I know how to do is me. I don't know how to do anybody else. So when I teach barbecue, I teach you from the bottom of my heart. And people tell me that that's a really authentic experience because they can feel your energy, they can feel your life force, they can feel your vitality. So even though we are on this thing called Zoom and you are 10,000 more miles away, right? There is a certain exchange of energy between you and me and hopefully with your viewers that I hope will propel them to do something with their life that makes a difference in others.
It absolutely will, I'm sure. Now, you mentioned something just a little bit interesting there, and it sort of made me think of a question that I wanted to ask. You said that Myron Mixon is one person on camera and a different person off camera.
Yes.
When we watch BBQ Pitmasters here in Australia, because that's pretty much the only barbecue show that we do get here in Australia, and at times on that show, Myron kind of comes off as the Simon Cowell of the barbecue judging world. He that's obviously different to your experiences off camera with him.
He is a kind of a wonderful TV persona, and that's why he, is so popular as a pitmaster. But he's really nice in person. So you see the kind of like crusty Simon Cowell character, but in real life he's a super nice guy.
You're listening to the internationally awarded Smoking Hot Confessions podcast with massive barbecue nerd Ben Arnott.
Okay, so tell us a bit about where we're up to with this beautiful seafood dish here.
So here's the shrimp using the kind of Harry's chimichurri, the kind of Asian-style chimichurri with a little bit of a dynamite sauce here. So this is kind of one dish here, and we gotta give it a taste test and see how it looks like. These shrimp, I think, are done.
And so those shrimps that are on the skewer, they were just split in half down the middle?
This is called a butterfly shrimp. And for those of you who are not aware what this is, you just split the shrimp right down the center.
Yep.
It's pretty easy. And then you just put it through a couple of skewers. What do you call this? You call this shrimp or you call this prawns?
Prawns. But we do understand when you call it shrimp, it's fine. We know what it is.
Okay. Yeah. I don't want to insert the what do you call the Barbie joke now, right? I mean, it's going to be some kind of joke that somebody, one of your viewers are going to throw at us, right? Think, what is Harry doing? He knows he's talking to people in Australia. Why is he cooking this thing on shrimp on the Barbie, right?
Yeah.
It's looking good. Ooh, I love this. This is one of my favorites.
Squid is charcoal grilled squid is a real favorite of mine. It's absolutely lovely. Now, what were those ones in the shell there? What did you call them again?
These are cockles. These are called blood cockles.
Blood cockles. Okay, tell us a bit about them. They look kind of similar to an oyster to me.
They are like a clam. You could say it's kind of a clam.
Oh, okay. All right. And you've got them.
A clam.
They're in a saucepan on a bed of rock salt, is it?
Rock salt. Yeah. It's what we call the ice cream salt. You know the salt that you make ice cream with.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Why do you do that?
Simple. So that the clams don't fall over.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just a tip. Yeah. You cook it on a bed of salt.
Right. Okay. It's not because it gets aromatic when it gets hot or anything like that.
No, it allows you to make sure that you don't topple over.
Yeah, right. Fantastic.
And also, it's a great presentation. I mean, it looks like $1 million when you serve it. I have an episode on my YouTube channel coming where I go and catch clams, like ginormous clams, the size of your hand.
Oh,
They're called
wow.
Pacific gaper clams. And I come back and I cook clams casino. I make a vermicelli clam. So I just love to cook and try different recipes. And enjoy different flavors. Like I said, right, I'm like an MMA cook because I don't have any formal training. So I'm just as comfortable cooking Italian as I am cooking Greek, cooking yakitori, cooking Indonesian, cooking American barbecue.
Yep.
So that's what my secret of winning is because when I cook, I have no problem mixing palm sugar with molasses.
Right.
So
Okay.
that I can get really flavors that nobody has ever tasted. But when they eat my food, they say, dang, this food is really, really good. What did the guy do? Because I try to make what we call ordinary barbecue. Does it make sense? Ordinary barbecue.
Yep.
So that the food is going to be just absolutely fantastic. And you cannot taste where the origin of my food is from. Like I already bastardized this thing, right? This is Argentinian sauce that I bastardized with Asian herbs, right?
Yep.
And fish sauce. So that is what I call kind of like a fusion style cuisine.
Yeah.
So in case you're wondering what this is, these are my favorite oyster mushrooms.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, are they mushrooms? Yeah. Now, just circling back to the cockles, did I just see you put the tom yum sauce and some of that Asian chimichurri in there?
Yep. Yeah. So you have basically the idea when you cook, right? You got to understand that you have to play with flavors. Yeah. There's 5 different flavors you're playing with, right? So sweet, salty, bitter, and umami. And you got to just learn how to do the different flavors. Like these shrimp, right? These shrimp have absolutely wonderful umami flavor. That's why seafood has a naturally occurring MSG. And, they use that to buffer the ocean intake. So when you understand food science, because I'm a very nerdy type of cook person, I go with a lot of different science that I learned about cooking food. And I use them in competition and they seem to be working.
Yeah, looks amazing. You just mentioned MSG there earlier. I did see a video that recently you shared on Facebook sort of stating your opinion on MSG. Can you give us a bit of a summary of where you stand on MSG?
MSG is a safe food additive. It is nothing unusual. If you ever had marinara sauce, you had MSG. You had Parmesan cheese, you had MSG. If you had KFC, you had MSG. So it's nothing really terribly special. And the idea is that you have the same flavor compounds in kombu seaweed. The Japanese discovered that 1,000 years ago, they've been using kombu seaweed for their soups and stews and food. And Professor Ikeda in the University of Tokyo actually traced it to a chemical, monosodium glutamate. So that's the white stuff you see on top of the kombu seaweed, and that's used to make dashi stock in Japanese cuisine. So he isolated the chemical compound called MSG. And MSG, you have taste buds in your mouth that binds to the MSG, sends a signal to your brain that says that is tasty. All right. So, I'll tell your viewers that they may not know, but if they were ever raised breastfed from mother's milk, human mother's milk has about 6 or 8 times the highest MSG of all of the mammals in the animal kingdom. Wow. So the first taste you had in your mouth was MSG. It caused you to drink the milk so you would survive as a species called Homo sapiens.
Right.
So a lot of people don't know that because they think that they listen to a lot of what I call fake news and saying that, it'll kill you, it'll fry your brain and on and on and on. So I cannot tell you how many haters I get right on my channel that attack me when I share science with them, and they obviously, don't believe in science. And, I just have to tell them that, hey, I believe in science. If you don't believe me, go watch another channel. That's okay with me. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Yeah, fair enough. It's quite contentious in barbecue circles whether to use MSG in competition or not. And
it's already in the product itself, so you don't have to use it. It's already in there. If you use soy sauce, you're using MSG already. So and the same people who would go out and eat Kentucky Fried Chicken, they would eat fast food. Eat some like chips and everything. All those have naturally occurring forms of MSG and added MSG. So, it's really, up to you to decide if you believe in science or do you believe in what I call hearsay. Because there's a lot of people out there that have a tendency to propagate untruth. Like in America, right? We have something called the Flat Earth Club.
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm familiar with that.
Americans believe. Yeah, you're familiar with that? So 6 million Americans, I believe, they will go to their deathbed believing that the world is flat. And all those pictures of Neil Armstrong are all done in a Hollywood studio.
Oh, wow.
So there you go. What can you do? Right? I mean, you cannot change people's perspective on
it's hard to argue.
Believe. Yeah, I run a YouTube channel. So trust me, when I do 2,000 comments every month, 500 a week, yeah, I hear them all and I get them all. So trust me, I'm painfully aware of how the world thinks and how the world believes. I always tell people, don't believe a single thing you see on my channel. All you need to do is try it. Don't believe, learn to know. Knowing is so much more powerful than believing. Yeah. So I'm a total skeptic. Everything you see me do, right? I always want to know why. And that translates into my cooking, because when I cook, I want to know why flavors work.
Right, yeah, because then you can break it down and replicate it and rebuild it into other different styles. I think it was Paul McCartney. He was interviewed about pop music and about how people can learn to how people can write the best pop music songs. And he said, first of all, you need to learn classical music because you need to learn the rules before you can break them.
Yes, absolutely. And it's very important that when I just showed you, right, there is a difference between fusion cuisine, which is what I showed you, like you examined the chimichurri. Chimichurri is an Argentinian tradition using oil, vinegar, and an herb. I did exactly the same thing, but I just substituted the salt with fish sauce, and I substituted the vinegar with Japanese rice vinegar, and I substituted the herbs using some herbs from Asia. So I always want to be clear, when I cook, I do fusion. I don't do confusion cuisine. Okay, very important.
Yeah. I remember living in Korea and going to different fusion restaurants, and it would basically just be a bowl of spaghetti with kimchi on the side. Mate, that squid looks amazing. I'm hungry just watching it.
I wish you could have smell-o-vision. It just smells absolutely heady, and that aroma of the ocean here is just absolutely wonderful. I'm trying not to overcook it, so I think I kind of overcooked it, but that's okay. You know?
That is one of the dangers of cooking with squid. It's very quick and very easy to overdo it.
Yeah, the other option is I can actually wrap it in foil, right? Put some of the chimichurri in it and let it baste for about an hour. Yep. Kind of like it's slow cook. And then that will render the collagen. So it goes from kind of like tough into butter soft. So I think I'll do that to salvage this recipe, because this is a little bit harder than what I want it to be. But I'm going to salvage it by using a foil method to kind of do a wrap, kind of like barbecue wrap. You know, that way I can kind of get it nice charred, and then we'll do a nice wrap, and then make it super tender, like Italian style calamari. Yeah. Serve it with some pasta and use some of the sauce I made.
Oh God, that sounds good.
So make some tom yum sauce and with some pasta. I think it'll be fantastic.
I dare say it will. The vinegars in that chimichurri that you're going to boat it with is going to denature that squid a bit, get it a bit softer again.
Yep.
Very good. All right. Well, this is about all the time that we've had. So if you wouldn't mind, would you be able to just grab like one of those prawns off that skewer and just have a bite for us and just tell us how it tastes?
Absolutely. Be happy to do that here.
We have to see it. We have to see it before we go.
Yeah, they have to see it before you go, right? So let me tell you how it looks like here. Can you see this?
I can. Oh, they look amazing. Yeah, that white sauce is kind of set like melted cheese almost.
Yeah, it's like a dynamite sauce. The mayo will set. So it's a kind of like egg emulsion. So it's like an egg foam mixture here. So of course I don't have a fork. That's okay. We'll just eat with our hands here. Yeah. So
oh wow, that looks amazing.
Super. It's just perfectly cooked also. All right, so absolutely fantastic flavor. You got that fresh shrimp flavor of the ocean, the char of the charcoal, and you've got that sweet QP mayo flavor on it, and absolutely a heady bite. And a little bit of the chimichurri with the garlic, a little bit of fish sauce on it, a little bit of the herb on it. Absolutely, absolutely amazing, amazing flavor. That was one shrimp. Here's another shrimp, or prawn as you call it, right? You call it prawn.
Prawns, yep.
Okay. All right. So the way you eat a shrimp is that you teach them how to eat it. They may not know. You just pull the head out like that, right?
Yep.
First thing you want to do is you want to suck the roll off the head like so. That's a tremendous amount of flavor, right?
Yep.
And you can eat it with skin on, or you can peel the shrimp very quickly and get some of that flavor on it. And it's got that tom yum, which is lemongrass flavor. It's got chili, shallots, probably some kaffir lime. You know kaffir lime?
Yes.
It's a wonderful fragrant lime. So that's how it looks like here.
Oh, that looks incredible.
Okay.
The grill lines on the prawn just look mouth-watering.
I wish you could be here.
Oh, me too. I wish I could be there as well. They just look sensational.
Ben, we got to get you to America. Next time you come by LA, give me a heads up and we'll invite you back here to try something that you didn't try. But here's the blood clam.
Oh, yes.
Oh, it's dripping.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay. Woo. Excellent. Absolutely amazing. Let me get a piece out.
Yeah, they do look remarkably similar to an oyster, don't they?
Yeah, it's more a clam. A clam, so it's got a little bit of rigidity. Oyster is kind of like very soft, right, and kind of fluid. This one is a little bit of a clam here.
Oh, okay. So the texture is a little bit firmer than an oyster.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow, that looks so
very
good.
Clam.
Yeah. Very good, mate. Very good. All right. Well, look, what I'm going to do is I'm going.
1 second.
Okay.
Hang on 1 second. My thing is burning. 1 second.
No worries.
Oh, okay. All right. While talking and eating.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
I'm gonna burn my what do you call
the calamari.
Calamari. That's okay. A little bit of scraping will be fine.
Yeah. Nothing a sharp knife can't fix. Alrighty, so what I'd like to do at about this point in the interview is throw the studio over to you so you can give some shout outs and some thanks to who you'd like to, and also tell everybody where they can track you down on social media. All right.
Also, thanks guys for joining Ben and me in this episode. I had a super amount of fun talking to everybody on his channel. I want to encourage you to go visit his channel. If you can, swing over to mine. I have 300 plus videos on 35 different playlists, showing you all the ins and outs of cooking competition style barbecue, cooking backyard barbecue, so you too can spread barbecue love. I want to do a shout out to some of my sponsors. You see them here. I have a charcoal sponsor. These are Max, Jealous Devil briquettes that you saw me cooking the meal with. I want to thank all my other sponsors, like my wood sponsor, Patty Sharp from Sharp's Gourmet Cooking Wood. And I want to encourage you to go check out my website. I do sell products like rubs and sauces that I've used to win first place in contests all over America and the world. So it's been a pleasure being on Ben's show, and I hope we'll see you guys again very, very soon.
Beautiful, mate. Thank you very much. And I just want to say, just one more time again, I realize that you are a busy guy. As you said, you do have a full-time job, and then you do Slap Your Daddy on top of that as well. So I really do appreciate, and I'm sure that all the readers and all the viewers and all the listeners really appreciate you taking the time to. You've literally brought us into your backyard for dinner. We've just had dinner with Harry Sue. So thank you very much for giving us that opportunity and sharing your time with us.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ben.
And there you have it, family. That was the one and only Harry Sue. As you can see, we were literally in his backyard in Los Angeles there, and he's actually cooking his dinner and experimenting with recipes as we were talking. What an experience was that? That was so good. That's a real once in a lifetime opportunity there. So yeah, once again, huge thanks and massive props to Harry for letting us into his life there and really sharing some of those tips and wisdom that he's acquired through his barbecue journey. So before I let you go, I just want to give you a reminder that if you have enjoyed this video, do give us a like and a share on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, give it a thumbs up, a subscribe, hit that little notification bell so you get notified next time we do upload another episode. If you're watching on Instagram, I love those cute little hearts and the little follows that you can give us, so make sure you throw us some of them. And if you are listening on a podcasting app, do make sure you have a bit of a look and see if you're able to give us a rating and review, particularly if you're listening on an Apple device, because I know Apple iTunes definitely does it. And it really helps us get up the charts and get our barbecue message out there to more people. So that's all the time we have for today. So without further ado, I'm going to say take care of each other and keep on queuing.
Thanks for listening to the Smoking Hot Confessions podcast. Head on over to smokinghotconfessions.com for recipes, tips, and Ben's own confessions.